Sup peeps, my name's Ian, I sell books on eBay. I've had a question in the comments, maybe others have had the same intrigue. Anyway, I thought I would answer it because I've got something I can use to do it just now. So the question was, how do you create a book bundle listing? So something with variations, variables, etc. So what I've got is a bundle of Alison Noel books, so kind of teen vampire romance type things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different titles, a couple of 2, and the rest are all singles. So I've had a couple of these listed individually to get the odd view, but I picked up a few more last week, so I want to get them all put into the one listing so that they've got the variables. So I thought I would use these to show you how I do that. First things first, when you're going to create a build your own book bundle listing with variations, there's certain things you need to make sure of, and this is my wee checklist that I use. I don't have it written down, I've got it in my head. It's fairly simple. Once you've done it a couple of times, it'll be as simple for everyone else. So the first thing you need to do is get yourself a title. So I'll show you what kind of titles I use. Try and keep them fairly generic so that when people see a listing, one of your listings, they're going to recognise it and go into it. There's lots of different ways you can do it, but I've got a particular way that I use. Might work for you, might work for others. Once you've created your title, you need to go in and create your variations. So what are variations? Variations are descriptions of the different books that you have, you know, what their title is, what format they are, if needed, condition. So that'll be your titles. Next, you need to look at your price. So each title within a series, even if it's by the same author, they might have very slightly different price recommendations when you look at eBay. However, what works best for me, this is what works best for me, might be different for others, is find one common price and try and keep them as consistent as possible. So all paperbacks for X, all hardcovers for Y, etc. If you've got a big listing, there's a good chance that you'll have multiple quantities of different titles, so make sure you get them updated and make sure that they're correct. Next thing you're going to do is get all your pictures taken. I do that separately from the desktop. I do everything else, you know, steps 1 and 2 go first, then I go and take all my pictures, and then I go back into the draft. Always save this as draft. I update my description, which again is pretty generic, describes what people can get. Then make sure you've put the right postage policy on it so that everything lines up, and then you're good to go. You can get that listing submitted. So let's have a wee look at exactly how we do that. And that will be on here. So we go to create listing. We're just creating a single listing. Most people will be familiar with this. So how I title it, name of the author, what people can get from the listing, and then one of the ways in which they're going to be able to save money and get that listing. So if you hit the search button, nothing will come up, and you can continue without match. So most of these books that I've got here are good to very good condition, but under promise, over deliver. So I list them all as good, and that will take us into the listing itself. Right, so we've got our title. Sometimes you need to put in item specifics, other times you don't, but it's various titles. It's got the author in, various titles, and they're all in English, so that kind of speaks for itself. The next bit you'll find is variations. Sometimes you need to turn this on within the edit description, but it should just be there for the most part. So you can go in and edit variations. Right, so attributes. You've got two levels. You've got the attributes and then you've got the options. So they're all paperback. Even when I've got a mix of paperback and hardcover, I don't vary that bit there, but I want my own attribute, and I'm just going to call it title. So we have a title. Now we can create the titles of the books. So first up we have Dark Flame, and it's a paperback, and that's it added. And then I'll just do the remainders. So if that was a hardcover, you could add hardcover in there. If it was a first edition, you could add hardcover first edition, you know, whatever other details you need in this field here. Once these are created, they're fixed. The only way to change them is to create a new one and delete what is there. Evermore Shadowland is the next one. It's a paperback as well. And then Blue Moon. And that's them created. Now if you've got 50 books to do, obviously you need to do that 50 times. Right, next up, so we need to do the photos, but because I'm in here, I've got 2 Dark Flames, I've got 2 Night Stars, and I'm going to put all of these priced at £2.85. I've already had a wee look. They go from anything from £2.95 up to £3.65. So I'm going in at £2.85 and people will be able to get them from that. Now if you want to add a SKU so you know where they are, then you can put that in there as well. I keep everything alphabetical, so I don't bother putting SKUs in. I just know where they will be based on the author's name. So you see, we've got no photos yet at the moment. And I'm going to go and do that next, but first of all we'll save those variations. Get that there, and then we will come down and save for later. Right, I'm going to go and take the pictures. I have taken my pictures and now we want to go back into the draft. So that only took a few moments. Right, so to add our pictures, we're going to go, so you can do this in different orders, there's lots of different ways to do it, but we'll go back in and edit our variations again. And the first thing we want to do is our main picture. So I'll go in and find my photos, and I use a picture of a few of the titles together just to show that there is a selection. I've only got 5 titles here, so I've just squared 4 of them up and used that. So that will pop that in as our main image. Now to add, if you go down and look at the variations you have, they've all got that same main picture. So to change that, when it says add variation photos, go from use default and select title instead, and you're now able to add a different picture for each title. So we'll go to Dark Flame first. And there it is there, and we'll chuck that one in. Next up we have Night Star. Now if you do things in the same order every time, it makes it much easier, especially if you've got 30 or 40 items to go. So it's always just sequential. I put them in a certain order and then I photograph them in that same order, and that means that they're always running in a row, which makes it much easier to add the pictures. If you had a first edition or something where you wanted more detail, then you can take more pictures. For this, picture of the front cover, that's all I'm doing on these particular ones. So that's me, got my pictures in, and as you can see it now has different images for each one. My quantity is all sorted, my prices are all sorted, so I can save and close that particular piece. And next, description. So repeat your title. Again, you can do this any way you like, but I keep it as simple as possible. So I want people to know that when they're building their bundle, they don't just have to buy them from the one listing, they can buy them from everything. And that's really all you need. I'm working on a new generic description, but that's all I'm putting in at the moment. There's zero VAT because they're books and I am VAT registered, so I need to include that. I want to make sure that that's the right postage policy. Yes, it is. Now you could put in package, you know, the weights of these, and it make it easier when you come to do your postage. I just don't bother. It doesn't seem worth it. I'm not going to promote these at the moment because I'll go in and do that on a dynamic rate once the listing's been up for a few days. I've already used my 1500 listings allowance this month, although it's only the 14th, so it's going to cost me 6p to list this. So one last quick check. I've got my description, I've got my items, I've got my pictures, I've got my item specifics, I've got my title, list with displayed fees, and that's it. That's all it takes to create a build your own book bundle listing. Titles and descriptions, etc. You know, you can do what you like with those, try different things. I've tried lots of different things, and to be honest, I still change them. When something gets stale and things stop moving, I'll come up with a new format so that it freshens it up and jumps it in front of people's eyes again. But try and remain consistent across all of your book bundle listings or your DVD bundle listings or whatever bundle listings you've got, so that when people see that, they recognise it. It gives you a wee bit of brand identity, if nothing else. And that's us. So I hope that was helpful. I hope I was able to share something useful. If I did, great. If I didn't, well, let me know what else I might be able to share with you from what I do. That's it. So love you. See ya. Bye.